Paul?
The judicial branch can't enforce anything. They don't have the power to enforce it. Andrew Jackson one time sent troops, I think, down in New Mexico, and they said, oh, it's unconstitutional. The court said you can't do that. And he said, well, let him enforce it. Because he's the chief executive. He's the chief executor of the law. So, yeah, they can say that what we're doing is unconstitutional, and we can play this whole game back and forth. But if we have a strong governor, a governor can basically say, well, we don't have to enforce the court's ruling. And I would say that as long as we're in keeping with the Constitution, we're following the parameters of the role of government within the confines of natural law, meaning that the proper role of government is to protect people's individual God-given liberties, then I would say that in a case like that, that the governor would be totally acting appropriately.
The judiciary has neither the power of the sword or the purse, all right? And remember that we have, since the Civil War, allowed, and when I say we the people, and then the other two branches have run away from the courts with their tail between their legs, all right? And all we need to do is start standing up, and within the rule of law, all right, and thank them for their opinion. All right? Because that's what they used to call them, right? They used to call them opinions. And you know what? How would it be possible? Think this through. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall, in Constitutional Hall as they were having these debates. But think about, again, that separation of powers and the idea that the states, the 13 states that were establishing this rule of law, this Constitution, to actually have this agent, the federal government, okay, that would be delegated certain powers on behalf of the states to protect the states and the people, right? Imagine a concept that if the state as a sovereign got into a debate with the federal government as the other of the two dual sovereigns, and that the final arbiter of that dispute between the two would be a branch of one of those sovereigns that is in the dispute. That would be like me getting into a fight with my neighbor, all right, and then going to his mother to adjudicate the problem between the two of us, right? There is no way that that's what our founding fathers were thinking. It can't be. What I do believe that they were thinking was that, again, the power resides in the people, and which branch is closest to the people? The legislative branch, right? The genius of having them come up for re-election every 2 years, so they were responsible to the people. If the court deems that something, they render an opinion that says something that you just did is outside the Constitution, and then a governor or a legislature stands up and thumbs their nose, okay, at the courts, it's up to you, the people, to make the right decision to throw those bums out of office so that they do things that are within the bounds of our Constitution. Glenn Beck wrote this book on the original argument. And no matter what you think of Glenn Beck, if you're a big fan or not a big fan, you've got to pick this up, because this is the Federalist Papers rewritten and with some commentaries so that a guy like me can understand them. All right? And if you can believe that 3 of our founders, Hamilton, Madison, and Jay, wrote 85 different treatises, these papers, all right, to describe what they were thinking and what the debate was like when the when they were putting together the Constitution, and then they printed these in the local papers for you, the people, to read, to sell to the people, so that they could get their representation, their representatives to ratify, right? That's how they did it. They actually went to the people and said, this is what we're doing on your behalf. You know how important that is? So we can understand it. We don't need some guy in a black robe telling us what's constitutional and what's not. I don't want to fight this battle on Obamacare in the courts. I don't care what the courts say. I can tell you that it falls outside of Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. All right?